What the heck is a resort fee, and do I have to pay it? This is a question I get asked over and over again, particularly on my Las Vegas travel series, and so I want to take some time to talk about resort fees, what they are, how you can spot them, and potentially how you can avoid them. So resort fees, they can come in many different names. Sometimes it's called a resort fee, other times it's a destination fee, other times it's an amenity fee. Whatever it is, this is all the same fee. It is a fee that is added on per night by the hotel. It is in addition to the room rate, and it is in addition to taxes. Resort fees are not taxes. They are not put there by the government. They are put there by the hotel, and the profit on resort fees goes entirely to the hotel. Resort fees can range anywhere from $10 to $50 a night. I've even seen some hotels in Florida that charge $100 a night per the resort fee. Sometimes resort fees can be even more than the room rate itself. This particularly happens in Las Vegas, where you'll book a hotel like the Circus with a $19 a night room and a $25 resort fee. And I mentioned Las Vegas. The city that resort fees are most prevalent in is Las Vegas, where all 62,000 hotel rooms on the Las Vegas Strip are subject to resort fees. When you check into a hotel that has a resort fee, if you ask them, what is this fee? They'll typically tell you it includes a bunch of amenities in the hotel. For example, it includes pool access, it includes pool towels, it includes gym access, it includes surfboard rentals, it includes the coffee maker in your room, it includes the coffee for the coffee maker in your room, it includes a water bottle to use in the coffee maker in the room. These are basically a lot of things that used to just be free and used to be included in your room rate, but now they've taken these things and just said, well, it's not your room rate that pays for these things, it's now this resort fee that pays for it that you can't opt out of. You can't say, I don't want to use any of those things, so don't charge me the resort fee. The hotel makes you pay the resort fee whether you use those things or not, but they do give you access to those things. Very nice of the hotel. So the thing that's most irritating about resort fees is they are often not advertised very clearly. Oftentimes they're not advertised as resort fees at all. Some booking engines don't show them. Now this has been getting better over the years. More booking engines show them, more hotel websites show them, but still they don't show up at the beginning of the booking process when you look at the room rates or when you're looking at a search engine and you're sorting by price. Instead, the resort fees show up all the way at the end of the booking process when you've got taxes and all the other things. Consumer advocates refer to this as drip pricing, where the hotels start with a come-on price to bring you in and slowly drip in added fees to add up to the price that the room actually is. Many consumer advocates have also called resort fees the equivalent of charging a second room rate. So you have the first room rate, $20 a night, and you've got the second room rate, $25 a night. That's the resort fee. Because they're essentially both room rates because you can't opt out of it. This kind of drip pricing is actually illegal in many countries, including Australia and every country in the European Union. But in the USA, there are no laws for or against it. So speaking of the USA, where did resort fees originate from? Well, they originated in North America in 1997. That's where most people point to it, where many resorts in North America started charging mandatory fees for amenities, regardless of whether the guests used them or not. And it seems like every day there's more and more hotels charging resort fees. Now hotels in New York City and Los Angeles, places that typically aren't considered resorts, are charging these mandatory fees. That's why they call it something else, like a destination fee, an amenity fee, a city fee. And to give you an example of how this is increasing, in 2016 in New York City, there were 15 hotels that charge resort fees. And in 2018, there were 80 plus hotels in New York City that charge resort fees. So that number is growing exorbitantly. And it's not just fancy or nice hotels that are charging resort fees. All the hotels are getting in the act, including the Days Inn in Miami Beach and even the Super 8 Motel in Las Vegas, Nevada. Speaking of creative ways of disguising the resort fee, the Life Hotel in New York City describes their resort fee as the NYC Mandatory City Destination Fee. It is not something that's mandatory from the city. It's not imposed by the city. It is a fee entirely from the hotel and not a tax. I'm pretty sure all consumers, including myself, hate resort fees. So why do the hotels do it? Well, I think there are 3 reasons. Number 1, so that they can get more revenue without increasing the room rate itself. And why is this important? Because the room rate gets ranked on search engines. It gets displayed a lot of different places. If a hotel increases the room rate, then it might not get displayed as highly in search results in a lot of different places. So instead, they increase this resort fee. They keep increasing this resort fee and they hold the room rate constant, or they decrease the room rate and increase the resort fee. The second reason is so that they don't have to pay as much commission to travel agents or online booking sites. Why is this important? Well, because the commission typically generated from hotels is typically on the room rate itself and not on any other fees or taxes. Now, some online booking sites like Booking.com have gotten wise to this, and they've actually started charging commission on the entire price, which includes fees and not just room rates. And the third reason has to do with taxes and tax structures. Often the room rate can be taxed at what's called the Transient Occupancy Tax, which is something that typically applies to hotels, and fees are often taxed at a sales tax rate, which is typically lower than the Transient Occupancy Tax rate. And so it's a way of decreasing the overall tax perspective, and so they think a way of potentially making the overall room slightly cheaper because less taxes are being paid on the total price. So that's what I think, but what do the hotels say? There was an article in Fortune magazine a few years back where they asked a few different hotels why they charge resort fees, and it was interesting to see some of these responses. The Arizona Grand Resort and Spa in Phoenix says, studies have proven that travelers prefer to book a lower room rate and pay the resort fee on top rather than to pay one bundled higher price. That's what the hotel says. Is that what you think? Another hotel in Florida, the Watercolor Inn Resort and Spa, says, by not including the resort fee, we're able to break out all the amenities the guest will receive with this fee, an explanation that may be missed if this fee was included with the total rate. So apparently they charge a resort fee just so they can explain some of the amenities that you get. Do you appreciate that? But you know what? All this resort fee frenzy, it's backfiring on the hotels and the resorts. There was a recent article published in the Los Angeles Times showing that stays in Las Vegas, visitation to Las Vegas, has actually decreased as all these additional fees have been added by the hotels. That travelers really don't like to be nickel and dimed. They don't like the resort fees. They don't like the parking fees. And so actually hotels are seeing less revenue because of these resort fees. And some hotel rating systems, including AAA, are actually deducting points off their ratings for hotels that charge resort fees. Now, why would AAA be reducing their ratings? Because AAA says consumers don't like resort fees. What a surprise. It's something in the future, and I've already said it in pretty much every hotel that I talk about a resort fee, but I'm going to consider docking a half Topher for hotels that charge resort fees. Okay, so how do you avoid resort fees? Well, I mentioned it's mandatory, so it's not really like easy to avoid, but I'd say there's 5 ways to avoid paying resort fees. The first one is to have some elite status with the hotel chain that you're staying at. For example, if you're going to Las Vegas and you have Caesars Diamond status, well then at hotels that are owned by Caesars, they'll waive the resort fee because you have that high level status. The second way to avoid paying resort fees is to book your hotel with award points. Some hotel chains and some hotels, if you book your stay in entirely with award points, then they may not charge you the resort fee. Now, this isn't a universal truth. Some chains will still charge you the resort fee even if you have points, and then sometimes this may be if you book with points and you have elite status, then they waive the resort fee. The third way to avoid the resort fee, and some people on online forums report success with this, is simply asking for it to be removed. Asking the front desk staff. If they don't remove it, ask for the hotel manager. This isn't one that I've employed simply because I don't really like to argue with front desk staff, but if that's your style, this may be a way to get it removed. This often works well in hotels that have just started to charge the resort fee. They often have some kind of soft rollout of it, say where the first year, if somebody disputes it, they'll just take it off the bill. But then at some point, hotels typically hold a pretty hard line and be like, nope, you can't get away from this fee. The fourth way to avoid paying the resort fee is to dispute it with your credit card company. If you found that the resort fee was not advertised and you can prove it to the credit card company, the credit card companies have been taking those off the bill. And that's actually something where this might be good because, you know, if like it's kind of a shady hotel and they get enough credit card disputes, that could increase the fees they have to be, or perhaps even revoke their merchant account because they're not playing fair with customers. And the fifth way to avoid paying resort fees is to frankly just stay at a hotel that doesn't have them. That's my preference. You know, on my Las Vegas videos, I often tell people the way to avoid paying resort fees is just not stay on the Las Vegas Strip. Find a Marriott, find a Spring Hill Suites, find a Hilton, find a hotel that doesn't charge a resort fee. You don't like paying the resort fee? Find one that doesn't charge it. You know, use your money to influence the behavior you like from the hotels. If people keep paying them and are just fine with it, the hotels are going to keep charging them. Well, if you're going to Las Vegas, you might enjoy watching my series on Las Vegas, or if you're looking to book a hotel, you might enjoy my video about how to get really good deals on hotels. You'll also find links in the description below. I won't say goodbye because I'll see you in one of these videos.